Just Hello everyone, welcome to the new podcast series of CuetBhaiya and the Purview, where we welcome and bring different and various experts, industry experts, to talk about various industries and to gain different knowledge from various industries. So today we have Mr. Rahul Ramchandani with us. He is an associate at Everstone Capital. He has worked with Goldman Sachs, with KPMG. He is chartered accountant by profession. So yeah, we have Rahul Ramchandani here to help us understand various financial aspects today. So yeah, sir, we welcome you for this session and please start with your intro.
Hi, Laksha. Hi, everyone. Happy to, give a short session to you guys. Very excited to see, so many young, uh, dynamic folks from Hindu college. I believe most of you are from the Hindu, and happy to make this a very interactive session. And if you guys are ready for, and thank you firstly for taking out the time on a Saturday evening for this session. You guys are already in the top 1% because 90% of 95% or 99% of the people are not, investing in learning or upgrading themselves. So that automatically your intent to show up on a Saturday evening says a lot about you, and I see most of you would already be in the top 1%, because of your showing up. That's a very important trait, that just show up. So if you are all guys are ready, if you could just, I just want to make it interactive. If you could just type I am ready on the chat box, that will be great. I'll share my screen as well in the meantime. So please do type I am ready for that, for this session. Great. And whenever you have any questions, do put them in the chat box, and Lakshya will help me, ask them the questions, and ask the questions, and I will try my best to answer. So please keep typing in the chat box if you have any questions, and we'll all anyways have a Q&A time in the end. So if you guys can see my screen, do send yes. Laksha, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. So this is just wanted to spend a few minutes explaining about my career and life lessons, before we dive into the main session. If you notice, I have had in my 10 years of work experience around three jobs, and most of my and I call it frequent. So you must know that anything less than say a 5 6 year would be counted a frequent job change. But what I have done in my career is that I've always changed for a better and a higher profile, and that has its own risks and rewards. But what was my key learning here is that I always wanted to challenge myself towards more learning, not getting too comfortable in one kind of work, but always challenging myself. So in Goldman Sachs, I was in the finance and accounts profile for their India onshore business, and I was there for around 2 years. That role was, more towards uh, developing the corporate life, getting a taste of the, corporate life. Goldman, there were a lot of offshore teams where there was a lot of, involvement. And obviously, from a role perspective, it was to look at the management accounts, look at giving out the month end closing, giving a management view of the business, how the business is performing, and so on and so forth. Uh, so beyond that, I started seeing that I was developing the learning curve was flattening, and that's where I moved to KPMG, where my role was in M&A. So my other two profiles, Everstone and KPMG, have been in the M&A domain, and KPMG was more into M&A consulting in financial due diligence. I was there for around 4 years, where I was part of the consumer sector, so to say, and did a lot of buy side and sell side diligences. So when I say diligence, it is basically helping a investor or a seller to before a transaction to deep dive into the company and see whether the financials are hiding something, or help them develop a better idea about the company from reviewing the financials and doing a deep dive on the financials. So that is financial due diligence. And post that, now I'm in Everstone Capital, where I have been in the investment team there for tech services, and more recently for financial services and industrials as well. So that's been my career journey, and now starting April, I am starting my own advisory firm for managing people's money, and handholding them in their personal finance journey, and being a financial coach to them. Yeah, so that's been my experience till now. I'm really excited for the entrepreneurial venture now that I'm starting, and some of my career lessons I've just kind of tried to bring, and more from a money and finance perspective also. What I've realized that money is just a medium, and the idea is to focus on creating value and give value to people. uh, One more lesson which has been is that growth, any type of growth has a lot of challenges, and we need to embrace it. uh, and in all my last three jobs, what I've realized is that all jobs will have aspects which you will hate, but you continue to dive deeper into it. The consistency, showing up when I say consistency matters, is just showing up. That will take you ahead in whichever endeavor you focus your attention on. So consistency matters a lot. And what I will cover also will be my journey of my relationship with money, how that has evolved. Yeah, so I want you all to write at least one career lesson which you believe in all of these bullets which I have highlighted, which you strongly relate to. uh, so I am looking at the chat section, so I just want you all to uh, say which of these career lessons is something which you relate to the most. Consistency matters, Shrestha. That's good to hear. Rajat also says consistency matters. Mayank says all jobs have aspects which you will hate. I like that. Growth brings challenges. Utkarsh says money is just a medium. Focus on creating value. Great. So I'll. This is great. You guys are relating to few of these, lessons I have, experienced in my career or life till now. I would want to now deep dive into our main topic on financial health checkup. What is it, and why do you need it? So, what I would first want to see, what do you guys think of as a financial health checkup, and what is your understanding of this term? Sorry, I'm not able to allow you guys to unmute because there will be a lot of noise otherwise. But if you could, just type in the chat box what you think is financial, health checkup. What do I mean by financial health checkup? Anyone, guys? It's not that difficult a term.
So if you want, we can allow people, they can speak out while raising their hands.
Uh, sure, if you guys can manage that. Otherwise, if people can type on the chat box, that
Yeah,
will be more efficient.
great then.
So Sajal is saying exposure to financial risk. Akash, good one, assessing your financial position and seeking ways to improve it. Assessment of our finances. Rishika. Lakshya says checking the state of a person's financial situation. Shrestha says minimal debt. That's one of the points. And Lakshya, you have kind of explained it well. Checking the state of a person's financial situation. So it's all of these and more. Basically, when we say your financial health checkup is that just like you do your physical health checkup, you should also do your health checkup for your finances. When I mean that is that we all have a relationship with our money. Money is something that impacts everyone, same like health. And like we do our health checkup, we do our blood tests. It's important to do a review of our finances, and it can be done by you, it can be done with someone, but it is very important to keep regularly, maybe once a month or once a quarter at least, to see where you stand financially, where are your investments doing, how are your investments doing, how are your expenses going, are you in a state where money can help you achieve your goals. We all have financial goals, right? We have travel goals, we have goals for our education, we have goals for our family, be it buying a house or buying a car, and we have our day to day expenses to take care of, and we have our aspirations. We want to buy that iPhone or the car which we always aspire. So it's important to see which of your goals are you trying to achieve, and how are you going to ensure that. So financial health checkup is important, not just from a goals perspective, but also to oversee your investments. That if you have invested in, say, one mutual fund, how is that fund performing, and is there something to change which has to be done there, or your basic health hygiene, has your basic financial hygiene been taken care of. So it's a lot of things, and it's important to always know where you stand financially. Many people do not know how much they are saving, or how much are their expenses every month. So it's important to at least have a well round understanding of your financial health, so that because we are always bombarded with so many products, so many avenues to spend, that if we do not know how we are standing right now, we would always be lured towards these. So it's important to know where you stand as a first step. Going on to the next, when I just want to deep dive, which we hear whenever financial products are advertised, that say for mutual funds investments are subject to market risk. Please read all scheme related documents carefully. So a very important word which is always thrown around is risk. You should understand your risk. You should understand the risk in a lot of financial products, and generally, whenever you are making any financial decision, risk is always given a lot of importance. Uh, and they always say that understand your risk profile. I just want to bring here that risk is not a well understood term. Risk is something that has three components, which I would like to explain you. One is the risk required. Okay, so there is a risk if you have a financial goal to say buy your own home in the next 10 years. then you need to take a certain risk, right?
Excuse me,
You
sir.
need to.
Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you. I think the slides are not like we are on the first slides only.
Oh,
Okay, you are
okay.
on the first slide. Okay, fine, fine
Is
for
it
now.
is it going now?
Yeah, it is.
Are you able to see on the slideshow mode?
Nope.
Okay. Let me see. Give me one second.
Sure.
Is it on the slideshow mode now?
Yes, it is.
And you can see the third slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
So I was on this slide. It did not have a lot of text, so it was just more explaining, the backup to what we are deep diving into now. So, you overused word, but it is not well understood. There are three components to risk profile. One is your risk which you require. Something for your achieving your financial goals, you would have to take a certain amount of risk. Is that required risk? And there is always the risk capacity which you have. Many people are generally, some people are risk averse. Some people like to take a lot of risk. They are, they can take a higher risk when it comes to their finances, or even their career, so to say. And the third is risk tolerance. So what is risk tolerance? Risk tolerance is what is the amount of risk that your finances can afford you to take, right? Today a Mukesh Ambani can afford to say that, okay, let me take a punt and let me invest in a upcoming Dunzo. He's the richest man in India, and he can afford to bet on certain things going right or wrong. But when you say at our level, do we have the risk tolerance? We may have the risk capacity that I could go ahead and say tomorrow that I want to bet on startups, and I'm investing in multiple startups. But do my finances afford me that risk tolerance to take that? So that is risk tolerance. I think in this equation, risk tolerance is very important. We should know that how much risk can we afford to take, right? And the other point I want to highlight is that risk capacity, always keeps changing. It's never a constant. It's like an emotion, right? Today you are happy. Today you are excited. Today you have a adrenal rush. Tomorrow you may have, anger. So these are like emotions, and risk is also an emotion. I want to emphasize that, because we think of ourselves as a static. There are numerous risk tests which are there on the internet, that are you a moderate risk taker, are you an aggressive risk taker? But it's never one profile. You always have different phases where you want to take higher risk, and then when suddenly, like when markets keep going up, people become very high risk takers, and they are putting their money in a lot of shares which are like already risen a lot. So that doesn't mean they have a higher risk capacity all the time. Right now they are in a state where they have supreme risk taking capabilities. But see the market crashing, and people will start understanding risk, and they will just start selling. So risk capacity is like a very very unstable ship, if I have to say it in that way. And risk tolerance is generally very stable. How much risk can you afford to take of, in your current financial situation? How much risk can you afford to take? And the required risk always keeps hopefully, as we keep growing our wealth, the risk which we need to take or require to take to achieve our financial goals will keep coming down. Because as we grow our wealth, we may not need to take so much risk. So it's very important for you to think of risk in this matrix, in all these three buckets, and then see. I would like to see if anyone has any questions around this, or what they understood from a risk profile perspective, because this is a very important concept. Yeah, Mayank has raised his hand. Maybe we can give him the mic.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Come on.
So, sir, generally it is considered that people like youngsters like us, since we are just starting in our careers. So, if we can talk about risk, that right now as a youngster, my risk tolerance will be comparatively more higher compared to my father. Whether in terms of investments, I can take more riskier investments, let alone like my father can take, because he has more responsibilities. But the thing is that even if we take higher risk, suppose I have a very small amount of capital as a student, so even if I take more risk, the returns will be, even if I get a high returns, the amount of capital will be much stronger. So even if it compounds, the capital which is getting compounded is much smaller. But in comparison, if I build a stable career and then I am investing with a large amount of capital, at that point of time, my risk capacity is getting low because I am getting more old, I have more responsibilities as well. However, my returns could have been more if I take more risk because I would have a larger amount of capital. So,
Correct. Yeah,
like,
so
what do you
it's
think?
yeah, you have explained it well. I would just like to correct you when you say risk capacity is basically how much capacity as an individual. When you said you are young, then that comes in not in the risk tolerance bucket, but in the risk capacity bucket, where as a young individual you will be willing to take much higher risk. And think of risk tolerance is that risk tolerance is not dependent on age but your financial situation. Today Ambani's son, even though he may be say 25, he has a much higher risk tolerance irrespective of his age, or even a say a Mukesh Ambani or a Tata. They will have a much higher risk tolerance because their financials, their life affords them that they can take higher risk. Now even though you may be young, if you do not come from a very rich background, you may not have high risk tolerance. Your, when I say risk tolerance, is an external risk, that how much can your finances afford you to take risk. If you get that point, that how much risk can you afford to take, right? Now there are a lot of people from maids which I usually see, their husbands keep buying lottery tickets. They are wasting their money on a lot of risky financial endeavors. Now the risk tolerance is actually very low because they are not having enough to even sustain a two meal, three meal life. But they are, their risk capacity is super high, but their risk tolerance, which is determined by their life situation, is actually very low, right? So I just wanted to make the distinction between a risk capacity and your risk tolerance. But
Yeah,
it's always in the prism of all these three things. It's never one word. And your risk capacity, as you rightly said, that as you grow and your responsibilities grow, your risk capacity may keep reducing, but your risk tolerance will increase because your finances allow you to take higher risk. Correct. So
yes.
it's in a kind of a matrix, and you have to see all of these three together to come to see what is your risk profile. Many people just kind of focus on the risk capacity point, which is if you are a young individual, you have a higher risk capacity. But that is just one end of the pyramid, right? You have how much is your tolerance, how much is your life of allowing you to take risk, and what is the amount of risk that is required, right? That somebody who has achieved all his financial goals, who has probably got financial independence, he may not require he may not really have a requirement to take any significant risk. He may still take risk in terms of his investments, but is he required to take risk? Maybe not. And as a young individual, when you have your whole life ahead of you, do you need to take risk? Yes, you need to take bold choices in your career, in your life decisions, because that's a requirement. You still have your goals to achieve. Maybe I helped you answer your question.
Yeah, sure, sir. That was quite clear. I like the risk tolerance part and the risk capacity part is actually quite like it is quite difficult to differentiate between the two. So that got a lot clear.
Yeah. Anyone else has any questions here? I just wanted to spend some more, times understanding if you have any questions on this part. Great. Then I think when we say, your financial health, what we need to understand is, you should have a view of, your income and your investments or your, assets which you have. Anything which uh, brings money into your pocket or drives gives you income is your assets, and when anything which are generating expenses would be your liabilities. So very popular misconception people have is that, is your home which you are living in, is it your liability or is it your asset? I just want people to answer that one. So please
Liability.
answer. Yeah, please answer on the chat box that if it's your own home where you are living in, would you consider it as your asset or a liability? So Shantanu says depends on the age. That's a very politically correct answer. Akash says asset. Aditya says depending on its financing. No, so Aditya, I'm just saying that it's your home. You own the home which you are living in. It may be on, home loan or it may be fully financed. But how would you count it as an asset or a liability? So yeah, there are conflicting answers. Some say asset, many are saying asset, and some are saying a liability. So I believe that the home which you are living in, which you do not have any intention to sell, and you will not really sell it because you have to live somewhere. So you'll have to take a new home or go on a rent. I think that should be counted as a liability, and because you have to upkeep your home, you'll have your maintenance, etc. So your own home where you are staying should not be counted in your asset. Asset, and this is not a technical definition. This is a practical definition. So obviously, the own home which you are living in, which you are owned by you, is an asset in a financial, perspective or in a very technical perspective. But from a finances perspective, when you look at your personal finance, your own home should be considered as a liability, or at least not considered a asset, right? Because it's not something which you will be able to sell. So hope I still see people have said assets, but I hope people realize that what I'm saying is not from a technical perspective, but more from a personal finance perspective. That you see your own home, you don't count your own home as an asset, and start to believe that, oh, this is my net worth. You will never be able to sell it. Cool. So I will go to the next slide, which is basically a continuation of the old, where we are saying master the basics for your financial health. And this, I would count these three things. If you have to start your financial journey, you have to start before even investing. You have to start with these three things, that you build your emergency fund, emergency savings of around 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses should be in your liquid fund, or in your bank as a FD, or in your savings account or a liquid mutual fund. I think if I would not optimize it too much, and I would just keep it as a FD at most. The reason for keeping an emergency is that shit happens in life, and we need to have access. If and what is the use of your money if you are not able to access it in the time of emergency, right? So having at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses in liquid instruments is very important, and helps you keep a peace of mind that at least if whatever happens, I have access to that money, right tomorrow, or in the next minute. So that's a very important point. Then the next basic, which you should get a tick against is your health insurance. Uh, See, what many people, we as young people, we never believe that we will have any health event, immediately at risk. But I believe that and COVID taught us that health is kind of very precarious, and if you go to the hospital for even a basic treatment, it will set you back. So if, say, you start your job tomorrow and you start saving and investing very diligently, but after 2 3 years you have a health event in your family or for yourself, then it will push you back. All those 2 3 years of investments will come to naught. So it's very important you bring that discipline. And it feels a punitive thing that I have to take a health insurance, I have to spend that 15 20K every month. I'm not every year, but there is no health event in my life. It's kind of a waste. Yes, it's an expense, but you have to do yourself and your family. You have obligation to do this for yourself and your family, to take a health insurance. And same goes for a life insurance, that your future dependents. Right now, I'm sure none of us will have dependents right out of college. But your future dependents, we should do them big favor, and get ourselves insured for life. The benefit is that the insurance, you take for your life insurance right now. And when I say life insurance, I mean the term life insurance, not the money back policies or the LIC policies, which many people get into. I can if anyone has questions on those, I can explain. But it's important that you take it right at the start of your career, because your premiums get locked. So it's very important to know that
Right.
once you take. Sorry, someone. If anyone has a something to speak, please raise your hand. I s- I saw someone speaking. So
I
if
guess
there.
that's a mistake. I guess.
Okay, no worries. So the important point to note is that health insurance, a life insurance. The moment you take a life insurance for a particular amount at a particular age, that premium gets locked in for the rest of the term till it could be 60 years, 65 years. So it's important to take a life insurance right up front, and how much to take, which policy to take. All those you should get reach out to a financial advisor to help you guide. That is not the focus of this session, but it's important to get these three things tick marked right at the start, before you start really investing as a next step. Any questions here, anyone?
I guess it was
So
pretty clear.
great. So at this moment, I would just give a few more points, to master the basics of your financial health. And here, some of them, are invest in yourself. Okay, that's the most important thing. I see all of you are investing in yourself, taking out the time on a Saturday evening. So continue, keep doing that. No investment will give you the returns as much as your career or your investment in yourself. So I would strongly recommend that each of you budget an amount, say a 50,000 or a 1 lakh for a year, that you will spend on courses, spend on learnings, that you will, and the internet is free, you won't even need to spend. But still, I would say, go out and budget a 50,000 and say that I will do courses. I will spend that amount in gaining new skills or doing courses, and ensure you spend that. that amount will give you the biggest return than any other investments which we will discuss here. So ensure you use that to invest in yourself. Then the next point is personal finance is very
Sir,
personal.
Janya has a doubt. You can.
Okay, yeah, Janya, please, you can unmute yourself.
Oh no, I raised it by mistake. Please go on.
Very sorry, sir.
No worries. Then another point is that personal finance is personal. There are no rules here. So there are people who say that you must never take a home. You should always prefer renting. There is a big buy or rent debate which continues on the internet all the time. That it's better to rent than buy, or some people say that buying is preferable as it's something, it gives an emotional comfort. But I would say that there are no right or wrong here. Personal finance is very personal. Everyone has a different relationship with money, and the more you realize that, the more you understand that there are no rules here, so to say. I would not recommend people, like I advise the maid which comes to our home, and I would not advise her to put it in equity. And even though equity is the best instrument if one has to grow wealth, but I do not think that her family has the financial risk tolerance that equity investment requires, right? So and knowing her, knowing how they have a requirement for money, I think FD will do her much better, or a fixed instrument will do her much more service than equity, because she will, if she requires money and the market has crashed, she will not care, because her requirement is immediate. She will go ahead and liquidate it at the very wrong time, when you should not sell out your equity investment. So there are no rules here. Personal finance is personal, and that's why it's not a science but more art. And the third point I want to spend like a minute explaining, that if you want to increase your odds of saving money, you need to figure out what really matters to you, not that something which you are going because everyone else wants that or everyone else is doing that. So you should really figure out that what is that thing that you really require. If it's going for travel, then you should really, that will increase your odds of saving. Or if it's a foreign education, that will drive you to save and invest better. So spend some time with yourself to figure out what is that you are really needing to. Is it that you want to retire early, say in your early 40s or late 30s? Then that will drive you towards investing and saving better. uh, the other point is that start early. I think most of you will start your careers in maybe a few years, or you have already started. So start early, keep compounding. Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, and once you start experiencing that, you will understand the journey which money can take you towards, and never interrupt it. Then others are like pay off your debts as quickly as possible. And this is more of a this is coming from my understanding, that pay off your debt, it's more a peace of mind. But it could be that if you are building your business, or if you are starting your entrepreneurial journey, you may need to take debt, and you are investing it in your business, so it may not be that of bad idea to take debt. So as I said, personal finance is personal. But this is one my takeaway, that have as limited or low no debt as possible, and it helps you have peace of mind, and your risk capacity also uh, goes up. Then one more is that there are always this, people always ask that what's the best stock right now, or which is the best mutual fund. How many of you have had that question at any point in your life, asking people which is the best stock right now, or which is the best mutual fund. I see a lot of people have raised hands. Maybe if if maybe it will take a lot of time for all of us to speak up. So maybe if you could write on the chat box and we could I can answer those questions.
Actually, I think it was a yes for your question. That yes, we have heard that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Got it. Understood. Uh, yeah. So many people I come across asking which is the best mutual fund, so or which is the best stock to buy. I would say that think of it as a medicine. Do you go to your doctor and say, "Oh, doctor, please give me the best medicine"? I want the best medicine. Don't give me any medicine, but the best medicine. The doctor will laugh, and just take you out from his clinic. He will be like, you are a crazy person. There's no best medicine. So similar to that, there is no best stock or best mutual fund. So specifically coming to a mutual fund, one has to see what one has or what one requires to see, and basically similar to that, what kind of a portfolio you need to create rather than one best stock. So you won't just go to a doctor and say, give me the best medicine. Similarly, mutual funds as a vehicle or stocks are supposed to work as a portfolio to help you to reach your goal. If your goal is say 2 years away or 1 year away, I would not recommend you to invest in equity. So it's depends on what are you saving for, or why. And it's always a portfolio approach. One stock or one mutual fund will not help you you know do much if it's not a big part of your portfolio, or you have not spent time in understanding your finances. So there are no best stocks or mutual fund. It's always better to think of it on a portfolio basis and think of your goals and work towards them and create a portfolio rather than one best stock or mutual fund. Yeah, Janya, if you can unmute yourself and
I guess there's an error from Janna's side today.
okay. Then another important point is that asset allocation, and we'll move to the next part here on how to create a portfolio. That asset allocation is much more important than selection of a particular security. How do you define your allocation is more important than deciding which stock to select, or which mutual fund to invest in. And it's simple is better than complex, and strategy is better than tactics. So we are here discussing more strategy, where it's more defining your path rather than the optimizations which you should do. And in my personal view, I would say that the better is it that you realize this early, that time is more important than money. That's what I have not heard it, and I'm telling you, I've experienced this. That more you give importance to your time, that will help you achieve more in life than giving importance to money. But obviously, that is a journey, and it will take some time for you to also get this realization, not just as a learning, but the sooner you realize, it will help you ensure you spend your time very more carefully. Now, yeah, Aditi, you had a question.
Hi, good evening, sir. So, like from the perspective of a student, we have limited a crunch of like money and time as well. So, first of all, we do not think about what are our retirement plans. We just, as students, we just think about ki 1 year may how much should we invest and how much returns should we obtain. So, with that limited money only, provided that students also come from other states and they have to bear so many expenses. So, how can we diversify our portfolio in such a way, the limited portfolio in such a way that we don't have to bear so much cost, so many opportunity costs of that, and we can just have some profits based on it?
Yeah, very good question. I agree that when you have limited money, and you are not thinking of your long term, retirement, but you more medium term and short term things. I think that mutual funds are a great way, and we'll talk about them. A great way to allocate your money, that limited money as well. You could invest. So when I say allocation, that you could define that, okay, 70 or 80% of my money needs to go to equity. In equity also, you can define that, I want to invest more towards large cap, the stronger top 50 or 100 companies, rather than the mid cap or the small cap or the smaller companies, or how my investment should be. And my debt should be, say, 20% long term debt or short term debt. So mutual funds are a great way to do that. And I think one more important point more from your question is that, one has to define their goals. What are they really investing for? And that will help you to understand that, because see, you will not invest ideally for day-to-day expenses that you will earn, or till the time you get a job, you will have your family bear that. But you will be investing for your goals. If you have a goal to buy a car or go for a vacation, so that will define that, where do you invest, right? If your goal is, say, 5 years away, then I would keep most of it in debt and only, say, 30-40% in equity. Because equity, mutual funds could, or equity could dive tomorrow, and after you invest, and it will not be giving you those returns which you require in the next 5 years to fulfill your goal. So, if you have clarity on why you are investing, that will help you better your allocation. But I think more importantly that, at your age, you should invest for the purpose of, just having enough money so that you are financially free in your life, right? I know it's a long goal and it looks very vague, but basically having that much money which gives you the confidence to do whatever you want in your life. Maybe you do not have something in your mind right now, that I don't have a goal right now in mind, but something like you're not, I'm not speaking of retirement, but something, a goal which is like, I want to be not worry about money, right? So money should not be a worry for my life. Yeah, Aditi, please. I think.
Yeah, so like truly stated by you that we should have a particular goal in mind while investing. So this is what we face as students also. In realistic terms, if we have 10,000 rupees per month, which we are willing to invest, which is a bit highly expected. So yeah, based on 10,000, if I think that 2,000 can be a value which can be for long term investing, and out of that 8,000, then managing my portfolio into 4 or 5 mutual funds will also not give me, say, very good returns. If my goal is to have my immediate requirements met based on my immediate monetary requirements met, so how should we plan upon that?
Sorry, I did not fully understand your question. If you could just.
Okay, yes, I'll come up again. So, if I consider that I have 8,000 rupees, which I want to invest based on to fulfill my monetary requirements, say for 1 month, and then if I diversify that money into 3 to 4 mutual funds or some equity stocks, then also we face a problem that, firstly, as you said, we have to choose a good stock based on our calculations, and then also if we are not able to gain returns on that, then that seems futile to us as students.
Yeah, so if I understood, you're saying if you have a goal to invest for the next 1 month, that you need this money in the next 1 month, how should you invest? I think you should not invest for the 1 month. You should just keep it in your bank as a short-term FD or something. There's no point in searching for investments in equity, especially for as short a time frame as 1 month. Even I would say as long as 1 year also, you should not invest anything in equity when you have a 1 year time frame. Because see, I understand that you want to optimize and get the best returns, but 1 month is too short a time to bet in equity. In fact, I would say minimum have a time horizon of 5 to 7 years for anything which you want to invest for equity, because 1 month, if I and nobody knows where the market is going the next day or the next week. The market is very volatile, and that's how equity is. Volatile in the short term, it could go down by 20-30% in the next week, and then you will just be disappointed that you invested and now it's down 20% and you needed that money for 1 month down the line. So to answer your question, I think if you have anything for the next 1 month, don't invest. Just keep it in your bank, put it in a short term FD at max or in a liquid mutual fund, but I would not look for returns in that 1 month time duration.
Thank you, I get it.
Yeah. uh, So moving ahead, what are the drivers of investment performance? So, before we go to portfolio, how to construct a portfolio, I just want to spend 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes in explaining what are the three, main drivers of an investment performance. One is asset allocation. Now, what is asset allocation? Very simply, it's the mix of assets and what percentage. So, how much in debt, how much in equity, how much in gold, you know uh, how much in foreign stocks, how much in real estate. So that is your asset allocation, that how much of your, say you have 100, how much of that 100 rupees will go in equity, how much of it that will go in debt, how much of it will go in gold, how much will go it in your US portfolio. There are mutual funds which help you invest in the US stock market or in the China stock market. How much of that should go in, say, your foreign portfolio? How much of it will go in, say, a real estate, if you are buying your own home? So that is your asset allocation, and that drives bulk of your returns. you know we all focus on the second layer, which is the security selection, which stock we should buy or which mutual fund we should buy. But we all forget our asset allocation. So I'll tell you a classic mistake which happens, that people research a stock, or they get a very very deep studied recommendation from, say, an advisor, that go ahead and buy ICICI Bank, and he's very confident that in the next 5 years it will do stupendously well, and you should put in ICICI Bank. He goes ahead and puts, and in 5 years actually ICICI Bank does 5 times, but he has only put 10,000 of his money in ICICI Bank. His net worth is, say, 1 crore. No, that will not affect his life. People run behind IPOs. Very very popular, is that invest in IPOs which come up, and the minimum which people get is one lot, which is 15,000 rupees, and within the listing period, it doubles. That in the next 20 days your 15,000 becomes 30,000, and people are so celebrating that, okay, I doubled my money, I put in IPOs and it doubled. But it is 15,000 in a 15 lakh portfolio is 1%, and your 1% is doubling. So it will not change your life, right? Your life will change when, if you had put, say, 10 lakhs of your 15 lakh portfolio in something and it doubles, right? So asset allocation, that how much are you allocating to a asset or to a asset class, or equity or debt, and how much of that are you putting in one stock. So if I'm saying that out of 100, 1 crore, if I'm putting say 40 lakhs in equity, out of that 40 lakhs, how much I'm putting in each stock or each mutual fund, and how that mutual fund derives. So that is more driving my returns than your security selection. How much are you putting in each of your investment? Many people, what they do, they buy 50 mutual funds, right? So their allocation to any one particular fund is so low that even if that fund performs well, they are not really impacted by it too much, right? And it's like, in the end, they what they get are average returns, because they have invested in 50 funds. So some will do good, some will do bad. In the end, they will only get average returns. So it's a very important to get your asset allocation right. Nothing is more important. And I would say that, at the young age, when you are just starting out, nothing is more important than asset allocation. Then the second is security selection. We all know that, which security to buy, which stock to buy, which mutual fund to buy, where do we put our money. So that is the second question. And the third, which has a very, very low, maybe in short term it has an impact, but in the longer run, it has the lowest impact is the market timing. When should I invest? Right? When you are investing also determines your investment returns, but that is in the third category. Only these I can take questions on this, but there are no other, other factors apart from these three that determine your investment returns. How much are you allocating, your asset allocation, which asset are you investing in, which security specifically are you investing in, and the timing. When do you invest? But in this order, the most, I would say 40 to 50% is asset allocation. The next 20-30% is security selection, and the remaining would be market timing. Any questions on this? Yeah, Harsh, I see you have raised your hand.
So there is a certain thumb rule that is being used when we decide about asset allocation, that is 100 minus your age. So that particular number should be invested in equity, whereas the other should be made in such a way that it diversify your portfolio. So such rule of thumbs should be followed while starting or investing in equity or making an asset allocations and all.
I would say not necessarily. Those are rule of thumbs because okay, they are easy to apply. But I would say that if you don't have anything as an immediate goal, say in the next 5 years, 7 years, you don't really have a goal right now in your mind of what you are investing for, then I would say that can go in the equity bucket, which will help you achieve, more long-term financial independence, build your wealth, you know your goals. Once you know, okay, next 5 years I want a car, then I would say this, thumb rule is basically if you do not want to do the work, if you just want to just like follow something, then you cannot go too wrong using that thumb rule. But ideally I would say that because asset allocation determines the bulk of your returns, right? I say 40 to 50% and even higher is determined by asset allocation. Do really ask yourself that why are you investing, for what goal are you investing. And if you do not have a very clear answer and you have a term, you know long term frame in mind, like I don't need this money for next 10 years, right? I don't have a particular goal in mind, then you should put, say, that in equity. And then in equity also, which type of equity? So equity is a very broad equity, right? Then you would say whether I how much should I put in large cap, mid cap, small cap. So I'll come to the next slide, which will determine more on that asset allocation. But I would say our focus should be on asset allocation, more than 50-60% of the time than any of the other 2 points.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Any other questions? I can take that. Yeah, Shrestha.
So, first of all, good evening, and really thankful for this insightful session. So, my question is that you have said that the least that matters in your portfolio is market timing. So, as a student, and as we all are really in our first or second year, so what does it exactly means that when should we enter and exit the market? It's quite hard to determine it at this point of time because we don't have that much vast knowledge of finance and other fields. So, can you please elaborate more upon this?
Sure. So when I mean by market timing is that obviously nobody knows in the short term how the market will do. If they know, then they are taking a very guess. I would say they are very taking an informed guess maybe, but nobody knows for sure because hundreds of factors are affecting it. So I think you should determine your when you should sell basis your requirements. Firstly, that if you need something in the next 5 years, then you should slowly steadily start moving that to your allocation, moving your allocation accordingly. So if you need, say, in the next 5 years, say 10 lakhs, and you have a portfolio of 1 crore, you should ensure that slowly steadily that 10 lakhs you are allocating towards more hybrid instruments or towards debt instruments slowly steadily. That is one. And second is that you consult your advisor who understands something in the market better. Like at least right now I can say that the small cap and mid cap portfolios are a bubble. you know so you start, when you see a lot of bubble territories, you start within that asset allocation itself. Even though it remains in equity, you start allocating more towards, say, a large cap portfolio when you see one particular asset is reaching bubble territory. So that it involves work and effort, and that's why it's important to go to a financial advisor. But when I say market timing, it is, what I mean here is, uh, uh, taking that call. Okay, markets are low right now, I should invest. Markets are high right now, I should invest. So in a long term time frame of 15, 20 years, it does not, like, there are studies which are conducted which says that if you were the most unluckiest investor and you invested every year in the worst day, when the market was at its peak, you invested on the worst day, and you compare it with the investor who was very lucky and he invested all his money on the day when the markets were at the lowest point, right? And they have done this study for 20 years, then the difference in return is around 1.5% on a CAGR basis. So in the long run, market timing, if you take a 20-year horizon, then market timing does not matter that much. When, from your perspective, if you have to think of market timing, you have to think two things. One is that when is your goal you are achieving, so then you start taking that decision to switch to debt if you require that money in the next, say, 2 3 years. So you start moving towards debt for that particular goal. And the second is that if there are things which are in bubble territory, which are seemingly outrageous, like small cap valuations right now, then you start pruning that allocation and moving it to, say, a large cap, or moving it to hybrid instruments.
All right, sir. I get it. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you have any other questions, we can take it in the chat box. I will answer it in the end. But now moving to the point is that how to construct your portfolio using mutual funds. So I am restricting your portfolio to mutual funds because when it comes to stock selection, it is basically a very a lot of expertise is required if you are wanting to invest in stocks. So, if you want to invest in direct stocks, you should be the person who understands, which sector is doing well, what are the future prospects of each sector. You should have an affinity towards how is the last 10 years performance of the company, how much are they generating, what is the profits which they have generated, how are their ROCs, ROEs, compared to others in the industry, do an industry comparison. So, if your job is doing that, then yes, you should do stock selection and spend time in that and, get better at that. But if your job is, say, if you are an engineering graduate and you are doing, say, software development, and you spend half your time studying stocks, you will not be a very, you will not generally have a good outcome, right? And many people don't even know how to calculate their returns. They are calculating on absolute basis when they ideally should see your IRRs over long term time frame to actually see are they successful investors or not. So they don't even know that they are not even beating the Nifty. So I would suggest that if your main job is not into investments, you should not spend time worrying about studying stocks and doing that when you have a expert portfolio manager at a fraction of a cost. Why don't you just get an advisor and invest in mutual funds? But when it comes to even mutual funds, how do you construct a portfolio, right? So first, which we spent some time in the last section, was asset allocation. That you basis your time horizon, basis your risk tolerance, your financial situation, you determine your asset allocation. And the more you are able to get your asset allocation right, mostly you will do good. Then it comes is the fund category. The next important is fund category, that there are in each equity, debt, and hybrid, there is even a hybrid category of funds. You have to select the category. The most important thing when selecting a mutual fund is that, if you have decided that you are investing in equity, you have to determine now which category of equity in mutual funds I should select. So there are around 10 categories even in the equity, asset class. So there will be a large cap, there will be a mid cap, there will be an index funds, there will be sectoral funds, thematic funds. So it's important to take the help of an advisor to understand that which category will do well in the next, say, 5 years, 10 years, long-term time frame, to select your investments. And it can differ according to your risk tolerance, according to your risk requirements, risk capacities. Large cap will be less volatile, so people with who are not able to face a lot of volatility may go for more large cap, or say someone who has a lot of risk taking ability, he has a lot of risk tolerance, he may go for small cap funds which will give better returns over long run. So it's important to take the help of advisors to select which category. If you have selected, say, 50% in equity, under equity also which category I should invest in is the next important step. And the third important step obviously is the fund selection, right? Even if once I have selected that, okay, I want to invest in small cap funds, I have a high risk capacity, then which small cap fund I should select? Here the help of an advisor will be very required. Credentials of that fund manager, what is the portfolio quality, how much are they churning the portfolio, how volatile is their portfolio, what are the costs, what are the risk adjusted returns, what are the rolling returns, how are they compared to other funds in that category on a rolling basis. All of these factors become very important. And most of the people, what mistake do they do is they only go by one metric, which is the past returns. How are the past returns in the last 1 year, last 3 year? If you are just taking the past returns as your benchmark, then you will never be able to because these past returns keep changing, right? If some fund has done very well in the past 1 year, in the next 1 year it may perform the worst. So past returns is the last factor you should see when you are selecting your fund. It all matters into what type of portfolio quality or churn which they are doing. People understand, okay, this fund manager has this particular style of investing which does not do well in these markets. So it's a very very niche field, and you have to I would suggest to go with an expert when you are selecting your fund also, after you have determined your asset allocation and you have determined your asset category, fund category. So yeah, this was how to construct your portfolio. I know we have already well above our time of 1 hour, but if you have any questions here, I would happy to take questions. We have one more 5 to 10 minutes. I want to discuss momentum investing. It's a very very interesting field, but happy to take the bulk of the questions related to the session till now what we have discussed.
I guess we can take them at the end, and we can, like, I'm very excited for momentum investing. It's a new thing for me, so I would like to take it ahead.
Yeah, I agree. So when it comes to investing, there are a lot of different strategies. And mutual funds also, you will realize that a lot of fund houses have a strategy of investing, or lot of funds in even in a particular fund house have some particular investing strategy. So I want to discuss what are investment strategies. So one is growth investing, that you invest in companies which are growing very fast. Then there is value investing, where you invest in companies which offer a deep value. Like Warren Buffett was a value investor, that if he sees a very deep value in a certain stock, say he thinks that the stock should be worth, say the company should be worth 10,000 crore, but the market is valuing him valuing the company only at 5,000 crore for whatever reasons, but he sees future potential. Uh, it is value investing. You are finding deep value. Then quality at reasonable price, that you will only go for companies with a strong quality, management quality, product quality, and they have a strong moat, and they are available at reasonable prices. But maybe they are not growing very well right now, but they are high in quality in terms of their management. Then that is quality at reasonable price. Then there is cyclical investing, that you invest in sectors which are right now out of the cycle. Like it could be paper stocks, or it could be private banks, or it could be IT, which is not in the cycle right now. And you wait for the cycle to turn, and the cycle really goes in a boom. That's when you sell. So that's cyclical investing, that all sectors are cyclical, especially like infrastructure, or capital goods. So that is cyclical investing, that you try to time the cycles perfectly. And one popular and most used method is buy and hold, and DCA. DCA is nothing but dollar cost averaging. That you keep doing a SIP at any price. If the price goes up, you will buy. If the price goes down, you will still buy. So you will have a averaging of your money invested. So that is dollar cost averaging. So basically buy and hold. That you keep buying and holding. This works for most people. So that is one investment strategy. What I want to discuss is momentum. What is momentum? And similar to momentum, there are other factor strategies. So I want to, and there are no right ways of earning money in markets. Any of these strategies can make money and do very well. And at different points in time, different strategies, work well. So what I want to spend time and explain is momentum as a strategy. So what is momentum as a strategy when it comes to portfolio investing? It is basically saying bhav bhagwan hai. What has anyone heard this term? And Rakesh Junanwala was the Indian Warren Buffett has been proponent of this strategy. But has anyone heard bhav bhagwan hai, and what do you think means that? If you can write in the chat box. Lakshay, you may unmute and maybe uh, explain what you mean by that.
I guess that is कि what price जो है और इस समय जो ट्रेंड चल रहा है उस हिसाब से हम लोग जो इन्वेस्ट करते हैं it basically signifies that.
Yeah, basically saying that don't question the price. Mayank has nailed it. Price action tells everything. So basically, it's that you don't question price. Whatever the price the market is trading a particular security as, that you just go by that. Uh, Shantanu has just perfectly translated it. Price is God. But basically, momentum investing has this price is God as the philosophy when it comes to investing. And this is a very, very mathematical or a quant based approach. It's a rule based strategy where you rank all the stocks based on their momentum. And there is a particular way in which you calculate the momentum score of a stock based on the Sharp ratio. And you kind of rate them, and pick up the top 20, top 30, top 40 stocks which meet the criteria of momentum. So what is momentum is that basically one always there's a philosophy that buy low, sell high. Everyone has heard of that, right? That you buy low and sell high. Momentum says buy high and sell higher. So it throws the popular convention on its head and says that you don't buy low, you buy high, and then you sell even higher. So whatever is going lower or is at low, don't buy it at all. Buy stocks which are growing higher, and then sell them even higher. That what is going up will keep going up, and what is going down will keep going down. So that is the philosophy of momentum, that what is in momentum will continue being in momentum, and what has lost momentum will continue not being in momentum. So it's a basically emotionless method, that you don't do any fundamental study, you don't have any emotional bias. You just apply a quant based approach, that okay, these are the top 20 stocks as per the momentum score, something called a momentum score, and you just buy them, and they are the stocks which are doing very well, and you kind of then once they start dropping, you sell it. So what momentum does is basically, when the stock is rising, it tries to capture it after it has started rising. So you lose some of that, performance when it was starting to rise, and then at some point it will keep going up, and then it will start falling. So you sell when it has started falling. So you lose that much also when you cannot sell it at the right at the top, but you will sell it when it has started falling. So you are basically capturing the trend. Basically, when the stock is going up, you are kind of after it has started to go up, you enter it, and once it has started to fall down, you exit. So that is basically momentum, and it's a very very interesting strategy. I basically am a strong follower of momentum as a strategy, and that has it has shown that it has worked very well in the last you know Indian markets are short, but in the US markets, this strategy has worked for, as long as 50, 60 years as well. That, as long as you go back, this strategy has proven it has its pitfalls, it has its days when it doesn't work. But, when it starts working in that couple of years, it outpaces all other strategies. So, this is a strategy which I just wanted to explain about. Anyone has any questions on this?
Yeah, I do have.
Yeah,
Like,
please.
I think if what I understood is it is based on the prediction that you make, like how the stock will go up and till what level it will go. So isn't it more riskier than doing normal?
No, I disagree with how you express it.
Okay,
We are not predicting anything here. Okay,
okay,
firstly, there is no prediction. It is actually a quant-based strategy, a mathematical formula where you say that these are the stocks which are actually going up.
got it.
So it's not predicting. Okay. So what you are really saying is that the stock which is going up will continue to go up.
Okay,
Okay, so you are not predicting anything. You are not. So, in fact, in other strategies, you predict that this company will do well because of XYZ factors. It's a prediction. It's a view that you have. But in momentum, what you are doing is basically you are saying that I don't know anything. I don't know what this company does, but for some reason the market is taking it higher. And it is going up higher relative to others. So let me enter it, and once the company say you entered it, it went up and it starts falling after it has lost its momentum, so to say. If it has lost momentum, then you exit. There is no prediction involved.
so are there any thumb rules of defining the peaks that they take?
No, basically you do no analysis ki ye itna hi ja sakta or this is the peak. You will sell only once it has started losing momentum or it has started dropping.
Got it.
So in momentum, you will basically sell your losers and you will keep riding your winners.
Got it.
So it's a very different strategy in the way it throws the conventional strategy out. Basically, conventional strategy kya hai? Ki when it is falling, you buy,
Hmm.
and when it is rising, at some point you sell. Here it is saying that if it is rising, you buy it because it will rise even higher.
Got it.
And it has no emotional or fundamental analysis or bias. It's not like it has risen so much, now I fear it will drop. No, if it has risen so much, then it means it will even go higher. But when you see the trend has changed, then you exit also.
Hmm.
What if there is a small correction in the market and then it again starts getting higher?
Sorry.
What if there is a small correction in the market and then again the security starts rising?
Yeah, so that is the pitfall of momentum, where if it is choppy, that if it has shown some trend of dropping and then again it rises, it will keep churning. So it is a high churn strategy, and it has its pitfalls. No strategy is perfect. So I have a question says that does 52-week high helps? Uh, there is 52-week high is a pure momentum, based approach. Obviously, it is momentum, and you see just 52-week high. But better is to go with sharp based approach, sharp ratio, and other quant factors. 52-week high is supposedly more, uh, you know, uh, does not work as effectively as other models. But yes, 52-week high is definitely a momentum based approach. If you just buy all the stocks which have hit 52-week high, it is a momentum based strategy.
But what I feel is this would be much high in risk as compared to any other investing what we are doing, right?
No, so basically, the way this strategy works is that if yeah, it has an element of risk, but basically what this strategy does is that you exit also as soon as something is going out of momentum. So it will not work in markets which are not trending or have a downward bias, right? If the market is more choppy, that it is more flat, it's not really very strong, this strategy will not do it. सो हर स्ट्रैटेजी का है ना टाइम होता है एक अपना, एंड एक मार्केट में चलता है वो. सो दे you have to in momentum you have to stick to that strategy for long enough to see the good times, so to say. So there are mutual funds also. So all of the different strategies work in different times, and you will have to see that underperformance to actually reap the outperformance in every strategy. And all, as I was saying, जो fund selection वाला point है, like every mutual fund will have a strategy, like a bias कि हम तो value investors है, like Parag Parekh mutual fund is more into the value investing camp, right? They will go at call it value investing. Then Motilal or Axis or something like a Mirai are into growth investing, you know. And there are funds also with a momentum strategy, like quant funds are momentum strategies. They will go for momentum based approaches. And there are other factor strategies also. So there is something called as low volatility strategy, you know. So factor-based strategies, there are a lot of factor-based strategies in the market. There is something called as quality companies, which is, you will define it. Basically, factor strategies are where you are using quant and maths as a way to find your portfolio and select stocks. So you will have quality where you will define high quality as, if these 10 criteria are met, then, the ROC criteria or, the growth criteria, etc., etc., then it's a quality company.
So
Any more questions on momentum?
yeah, I do have one. You told us about the quant factor that we work on to finalize which are the momentum stocks. So as it told about ROC ratio and all and the sharp ratio, would we like expand more on that? What is sharp ratio and how to use those?
Yeah, so basically momentum is mainly on Sharpe ratio. Sharpe is a ratio where it is risk, your basically asset return divided by standard deviation. Okay, and you can calculate it over different periods. So 6-month period, 3-month period, or a 12-month period, and then rank the stocks according to the Sharpe ratio. The ratio basically, if some stock has a higher Sharpe, it will be ranked higher and it will be counted in momentum. And then people apply different filters. That okay, I ranked it according to this, but I want only from the top 200 market cap companies, or I want to eliminate the stocks which have low volume, because you will get a lot of junk stocks also here. So you remove the stocks which have low volume, where there are only goes in circuits, that you remove stocks which are only going circuit to circuit, or you remove some group. So there are stocks which are classified A group, B group, in that terminology. So there are T group stocks, T for trade. So then you eliminate the lower groups. So you have to basically Sharpe is the main criteria, but then you have to keep refining it for other filters to get the best outcome.
So in layman, like if I what I understood is that the stocks that are less volatile are better to be like to be taken care of.
Yeah, so momentum is the first filter, and then you select less volatile in that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I covered this. I wanted to cover some, one book which I read, The Psychology of Money. I'm sure most of the people have here must have heard about this or read this book, but I think we are much way above our time. So I think I can take questions now if any other questions. But
I guess we don't have an issue, guys. Do you have any issue in like hearing more from you? If you don't have an issue, sir.
no, actually, I have a hard stop
Okay,
at in the next 10-15 minutes.
got it.
Uh, yeah, I have to go somewhere. But why don't we spend the next 10 minutes or for any questions or discussions? But as I just wanted to kind of lay it out that I have now started my own venture, and from April I'm starting this where I will be acting as a financial coach and helping you select the right approach to your investment journey, basically helping you chart out your financial plan, get your basics right, and then do your asset allocation and then your investment journey. So if you have any help required in for your in your financial journey, then I can be the person you can contact. So I see some people have asked questions. I'm happy to take them up. Yeah,
Uh,
Aditya, if you can go
yeah,
first.
yeah. Good evening, sir. Am I
Good
audible?
evening. Yes.
So, sir, since we are talking about the markets and investing, like stuff related to these, what is your view on like trading side of stock markets? Because it has been like in the news ever since COVID has started, and people are more and more started to engage in trading activities a lot, and it has sort of gained traction as well as it has been infamous as well. So, what are your views on that?
Yeah. So when you say trading, I would assume you are referring to very short term views on the market as well as derivatives. Derivatives I would say is a big market driver. A lot of people have started punting on FNO. So I think generally, I would say as young students, trading does give short-term returns at times. I cannot say trading always. People who are trading into markets are always making losses or anything. But what I see is that there is much better use of your time if you devote your time to upskill yourself and grow in your careers, then focus on trading. That's what I believe. Because what happens is that you will make profits when you are trading, obviously, and there is a lot of noise. So the other distraction is that when you are trading or into short term factors and into derivative, there will be a lot of noise. Everything will you know uh, uh, look very hazy to you on a short term trend. So but if you start focusing on this, then you will not be able to focus and spend time on your career and your longer term horizon. So I would say that people who have a settled career or are into a journey where they can afford and they have teams under them, or they are in autopilot mode, then maybe they can. And it's more than returns also. People get the kick out of it. It's like a adventure. On their day-to-day life, something is giving them such adventure, then why not? But is it making them enough money in the long run? I doubt. In the short term, yes. But then the downside is that you lose focus on your career and your other areas of life also, because you have limited time in your life to focus on everything. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, sir, you summed it up really well.
Thank
Makes
you,
sense.
Aditya. Yeah, Sajal, I see you would also raised
Yeah,
your hand.
okay. So, good evening, sir. First of all, I'll introduce myself. My name is Sajal, and I'm also a CA aspirant. And I also aspire to get into investment banking like you did. So, seeing that you got into Goldman after completing your CA, so what path did you follow for achieving that?
Thanks, Sajal, for such kind words. Uh, I think I got so Goldman Sachs is known as an investment banking firm, but my profile was more into finance and accounts in Goldman Sachs. So not really into the core investment banking, space when I started out. I think I did not do anything differently to get into Goldman, to be very honest. What I did differently after getting into Goldman Sachs was that, after 2, 3 years, I always had that, I want to learn and I want to move to a better profile, different profile. And that's when I got into KPMG. So I would say that, as you grow in your career, always keep learning and upskilling yourself.
Yeah, sir, that really will answers my question. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Mayank, you may unmute yourself.
Yeah. So, sir, my question was recently there is a news floating around the internet that JP Morgan has developed a software regarding cash flows which will factor out cash flows on its own and help in analyzing businesses. And like since 2023, also we are seeing the trends of AI and the risk it
Yeah.
poses. And recently there have been a lot of investments in further AI prospects as well. So how do you think as a like aspiring analyst it will change our career paths? Like because if we see the main role of an analyst is to prepare DCFs to analyze businesses, and if an AI can do the calculations on it, then a lot of work is being done itself.
Yeah. No, very good question. So I think AI will be an enabler. It will not replace analyst job, because see, Excel also helps you to prepare DCS. So when Excel had come back in 1990s or early 2000, people said that people will lose jobs. Obviously, AI is much more developed, advanced than Excel, but I don't see it replacing human intelligence, because DCF model or calculation is not the tough part. The tough part is the judgment, right? Judgment of how the businesses will do, and numbers are just a way of presenting your story. So what is the story, how the businesses will do? Nobody invests basis a DCF. A DCF is a way to justify that, okay, this is my view, and just quantifying it, that this will grow to this much. But DCF is not the reason where anyone will invest. So I work in private equity. We get a lot of investment opportunities, right? And we get a business model with the entire projections. If I had to select basis the business model and projections, I should have invested in every company which is shown to us, because the projections, the Excel, the backup, everything is there. Okay, this is 100 now, this will grow to 600 in 5 years. Everyone shows that. I'm not even kidding you that every model I see, we see a very, very rosy growth picture. We have to just deep dive and pick up holes in it, and we know that, okay, this is a Excel model, easy to project growth, but is the business, will we able to underwrite it? No. So yeah, AI will have its own challenges, but I don't see it replacing analysts or human intelligence, at least hopefully not. We have to always be optimist.
Sir, that was like wonderfully summed up. Related to that judgment thing only, sir. If we again, I use Instagram a lot, so but a lot of it is consumed with this financial content and consulting content most of the times. So we also see if you are using Instagram on a daily basis, we see these days finance is on a hype. like a very much hype in careers such as finance and consulting. Everyone wants to become a financial analyst. Everyone wants to get into consulting, especially in top colleges like DU Circuit and IITs and IIMs, of course. So, but as you said, the judgment is the most important thing. But in even if we go for courses, they're only teaching out about numbers. They're teaching out how to make models and everything. So, how can we develop that thing about those judgments? Because if that is the most important part.
So you have to read, and read. You have to start reading annual reports, company presentations, attend con calls, take an industry. So say take a consumer durable industry, read Boltas, read Havels, read a Dixon, read an Amber, read their maybe 2 to at least minimum 3 years annual reports, read their attend their con calls, read the past con calls. You will understand the industry. Once you understand the industry, you will understand okay where it is heading, what is the management saying. Don't read the newspapers or Instagram accounts. They will not help you form a judgment. They will give you judgments which you can parrot. If you watch YouTube videos, you will understand okay, obviously there is learning there too, but you will not develop your own judgment, but what is their judgment you will be able to repeat. But if you invest time in reading, I think you will start to develop views for any industry. So take industries, and then maybe for 5 companies in that industry, say take a telecom industry, or take a airline, or take an FMCG. Take something which you understand a little bit, and then read 5 companies and read all their annual reports, read their recent presentations, read on their con call. You will be able to tell me that okay, this is the view I am able to develop. Then right or wrong will show. The time will tell, right?
Sure. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Great, I guess. I guess we are running late. And Aditi, I guess.
We can take one last question. That's okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Yeah, Aditi, go on.
Yeah, thank you for considering me. Yeah, so I was having two questions. Firstly, from Goldman Sachs to KPMG, like you joined in for the finance and consulting domain, finance and accounting domain. And then how was the corporate exposure there, which led you to learn more about investment banking? Because finance is such a heavy field in itself that you cannot shift your stream. And secondly, like we as for second third year students, what is it different in finance that we are apprehensive about at this stage that we won't be able to do, but then when we talk to corporate people, they say that it's just nothing, it's just the practical application of what we study. So what is it that we have to do right now, which will align our goals, which will align our working in the next 2 to 3 years for the corporate setup?
Okay. So I'll tell you. When I was in Goldman Sachs, I was in a finance and accounts profile, and then I always wanted to move more towards finance, and due diligence was one area which came up. So I applied there. I read a lot of diligence reports and other materials. So I think reading is one area which has helped me a lot in understanding particular rules. And when I applied for Everstone as well, so that's when also I read a lot about private equity and what they do, and how they work. And obviously I had a knack for reading even otherwise. So I think what you can inculcate would be reading as a hobby. And when I say reading, uh, I would refer to, if you want to develop into finance, then I would suggest you to read a financial newspaper to begin with. But then if you're if you scope if you want to go in investments or other finance profiles, or say a IB investment banking profile, or a private equity or venture capital profile, I would suggest you to read books on investing and financial markets as well. That will be helpful. Um And I think speaking with people who work there, like I know you will include me as well. So you will what you should speak to them is what the work they do, right? And you are right when you said that it's only the practical aspect of what is taught. The other important thing I think that corporates or you know these profiles require is a way to synthesize what you understood, right? So being able to synthesize is very important. That if you read say a presentation or a company presentation or a quarterly report, you should be able to synthesize it as simply as in 5 statements that what you understood about the company, which is insightful and going beyond the obvious, right? And being able to say it in a manner which is understood very easily, because people have at our age or at a 40-year age, everyone has a very short attention span. So being able to synthesize well is a skill set that, and that goes in the broader communication thing. But I would say reading, being able to synthesize what you read, being able to understand it, and then being able to synthesize it. So these three skills will help you, I think, in any career choice which you do, and especially start with reading, then understanding, and then synthesizing what you understood.
I think good sum up. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I think it was really great session that we took. I think people will take your mail IDs and I think will bombard your mail IDs if I'm not wrong, and will
Yes,
ask
yes,
questions.
for sure.
Yeah, and it was really a great interesting session for my own self. I learned a lot today. Like I do have a bit of interest in finance and consulting, but I am developing that. But today I did learn multiple things, and yeah, I look forward to learn more from you, sir. And other than that, I would like to also introduce my people, that the team, that the Purview that we have. We are doing multiple things that you said, like working on reading newspaper, con calls, and creating industry report. We do that, and it is posted on LinkedIn as well. I would love if you like give us feedback
Definitely.
for that, and suggest us the feedbacks that you would like to give us. And other than that, we also work on consulting projects, and we are open for them. So do tell us if you wish to work with us in coming future for collaborations. I think
Sure.
great session, guys. Yeah, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, everyone. This was a very wonderful session, and I hope I was able to add value to you in this session.
Yeah, surely. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.